Welcome to Soundbites, everybody. Kip Ione, founder, Teams of Men here. If you're watching this, you're about to dive into another episode of our weekly Soundbites segment. See, Soundbites is either going to give you best clips and sounds from our latest Hivemind with like-minded coaches from across the country who are activating our lesson plans and our educations and trying to share and learn best practices for building your players as men in your program. If that's not a Hivemind week, you're listening to a Soundbites. It's going to be me discussing ways to activate and weaponize current events from across the country that I think are usable and teachable moments with you and your team, whether it's through Zoom, whether it's in person, whether it's in a share. I'm going to be talking about in those types of sound bites ways to activate what they're seeing in their scrolls, what you're seeing on the news. Either way, welcome back to Sound Bites. Hey, what's up, Coach? Welcome to the most recent edition of Soundbites. This week, we're using that Loom technology. If you're a regular user of some Teams of Men products, you know a lot of our lesson plans, we like to use this guided virtual tour type setup to help you take you through things you can find on the internet, but also keep me down here in this fun little corner to be your virtual tour assistant. So this week on Soundbites, one of these categories I really want to talk to you about is find an ally. And in Find an Ally, what we're trying to get you to do is utilize who it is on your campus, who it is on in your school that can help you in the work of preventing sexual violence, educating your kids to the facts surrounding the problem and the epidemic that is sexual violence and domestic assault, and find those resources on your campus, no matter what you're at, high school or college, that can help you in the fight. So I wanted to take you here, and I'm just going to use the example of myself at Willamette University, the Gender Resource and Advocacy Center. So if you're a college coach, do you have something called the GRAC? Do you have something the equivalency of the GRAC, where you can find the people on your campus that are really experts in the field, have been working in the industry of preventing violence? So for example, Andrea Doyle Hugmeyer for me is a huge confidant of mine that I vet a lot of our stuff with, whether it's, hey, check this content for accuracy, tell me about impact of this, how would you roll this out? We've used her as a speaker. She's connected me with other people in the field. So if you have a gender resource center and a confidential advocate, a victims advocate, a Title IX coordinator, do you know and have you connected with people on your campus at a college level that do this work? They probably are not used to hearing from an athletics department member unless it's in an investigation. So trust me, when I've reached out to folks in these roles, they've been so helpful, so warm in receiving me as an ignorant person coming to them for help and helping me create the program. I think the same can happen for you. In a similar vein, in finding an ally, I think there's a really easy Google search, especially for those of you out there in the high school level. You're like, Kip, I'm not on a college campus. We don't have the same level of resources. I get it. What you can do, go to Google, type in right away NSVRC. NSVRC, and you're going to get the number one thing that pops up is the National Sexual Violence Resource Center. When you go there, nsvrc.org, you're going to get a plethora of information that you can utilize. Obviously, that's still some web scrolling and some time spent searching. What I'd encourage you to do is go to the search tab here, like I'm doing on my screen. If you're listening, I just went to the search and I typed in school prevention. Okay, and that's going to take you to everything this national organization that's flush with resources has. Talking points for considerations for school district sexual misconduct policies, prevention in K through 12, power in prevention at elementary school level ages. These are so many resources that you can dive into and not necessarily plug and play with, but research and look at it and see, is any of this applicable to the group I'm working with, the age group I'm working with. And there's over 10 pages of search results here just from that initial thing. I think finding an ally in this work is what I really wanted to get by in this initial soundbite. They are out there. The experts exist. You do not have to create this for yourself. Utilize us here at Teams and Men. Use our soundbite platform. Use our hive minds, and also go find these people on your own. Next, in our Soundbites discussion this week, I'm talking about Title IX. And before we go any further, I know the first idea many of you had out there about Title IX was, man, that's cost me money. Or, man, that makes things unfair for men. And all these ridiculous concepts you might hold about Title IX. I'm going to send you to a hour-long podcast that I put on with experts in the field that's not only going to explain to you the history of Title IX, what it is Title IX actually does and the importance that it has, and is above and beyond what many of us coaches, I know, including my former itinerations of myself, thought Title IX did, and also educate you to the assault Title IX is under currently with what the the Trump administration has done to Title IX on college campuses, especially. You might say to yourself, Kip, I have high school players. This is vital for you to know. You know how many times you've heard a parent, an administrator, or one of your players complain that Title IX did this in some negative connotation, and you probably have gone along with it, not having a true understanding of what it is and the importance, the struggle, and the importance of what Title IX is in the athletics world and in society itself, especially on college campuses. So if you go to our podcast, soundcloud.com/cross the streams, and go to our Calling Men In segment, and go to our most recent episode that features Jeff Matsushita of the Idaho Coalition Against Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence, Carly Roner of the Oregon Attorney General's Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence Task Force, and Andrea Doyle-Hugmeyer, the director of the GRAC here at Willamette University. They do a fantastic job of educating me on the podcast and all of you that will listen to it to the history of Title IX, why you should give a damn about it in a positive way, and the assault it's under now, and what we need to do to protect not only what Title IX does for victims of these events, and what it can also mean for prevention work. Take this podcast episode from myself and decide what parts of it are important for you, not only to know now, but to then share with your players. It doesn't have to be a direct, hey guys, go listen to an hour podcast. They wouldn't listen to you for an hour, much less my podcast. But chunk it, get clips, and see how you can weaponize that in your continuing education to broaden your men's ideas of things they previously were very ignorant about. Appreciate you listening to this episode of Soundbites from Teams of Men. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're checking us out on social media at teams_men on Twitter. Follow me, Kip Ione, Ioane, on LinkedIn. And if you like what you hear from a Hivemind segment of these Soundbites, be sure use the links included below in the comments and the descriptions of the video to join us for our next Hivemind.